Welcome back, all my YouTube subscribers, Twitter followers, all the big Giant fans out there. The Giants dropped a tough one today against the Washington Redskins, 20-13, and they've now dropped a 1-7. Before the entertainment gets started on the recap, we'd like to show some respect in the Redskins fan base because you guys showed me a ton of respect, so I wish you guys nothing but luck the rest of the way. As much as we are rivals, I'd much prefer you guys to win the division over the Cowboys and the Eagles, so good luck the rest of the way. Now, coming into this game, I had said that I was worried about the Giants being able to stuff the run, and I was worried about the Giants' ability to run the football. And that's exactly what happened. Peterson went out there and he turned back the clock. He had over a $130. And just like I had predicted, he had a late touchdown run, much like Kamara did when we versed the Saints, much like Omen did when we versed the Falcons. The Giants' defense wore down because the offense couldn't get any sustainability. And the Giants' run offense was held under 40 yards. Barkley couldn't get anything going, and they made the Giants one-dimensional. And what happens when you become predictable? What happens when a good defense knows that you're going to have to throw the football? They go to work, and that's exactly what happened. Eli Manning got sacked 7 times. He got carted off to the morgue after the game. He looked like he was finished, and he's done. Eli Manning did not play a good football game. I'm going to get into that in a minute. But this offensive line needs to be completely restructured. They look lost. They look like a bunch of lost puppy dogs, and they are done. They are finished. They got to draft an O-lineman in every round of the draft next year as far as I'm concerned, because this O-line is disgusting. They're not even suitable for a college football team. Now, did Eli put up the stats for all you fantasy geeks? Sure, he put up over 300 yards passing. He threw a touchdown, but he made 2 turnovers. And against this team specifically, that's something that cannot happen because Alex Smith does not make mistakes. And when you go up against a team led by Alex Smith, you got to play from ahead. The Giants never had the lead in this football game, and you can't turn the football over because he doesn't. We sure as hell know that. The Giants actually had 2 opportunities to make a couple of picks, and they didn't cash in on it. But that's what happened in this football game. Eli Manning, in that first half, that pick he threw, that was the ball game. Because the Giants were in enemy territory, and you cannot give up points against the Redskins. Because when you do, they make you suffer. But today's a sad day as a Giants fan. I was 19 years old when the Giants drafted Eli Manning. I couldn't even legally drink this beer when they took him. And today, in my opinion, is probably the last start he may make as a New York Giant. And it's time to move on, but it's sad when you realize it because he's what we grew up on as New York Giants fans, and it's time to move on. It's time to see what Lauletta's got coming out of the bye. We'll see what the Giants decide, but I think it's time to move on. We're 1-7. We're not going anywhere. We're in sell mode. Let's see what Lauletta's got coming out of the bye. It's time to move on, Giants fans. Once again, for the second straight week, Beckham played his ass off. He had over a $130, and he was all over the football field. He was making big catch after big catch. Evan Ingram, I'm not going to get into him because that guy can't even catch a football. This guy needs to learn how to catch before I consider him an elite tight end. Yeah, he's athletic. He can make the moves. He can get open. But if you can't catch the football, you don't belong on a football field. Evan Ingram hasn't been able to catch a football throughout his NFL career, and today was no different. He made key drop after key drop, and I'm getting sick and tired of watching him on a football field. As far as the defense goes, they made me proud today. They played their asses off, and they were the only reason the Giants were in this football game. B.J. Hill was a tremendous draft pick. This guy impresses me every time he goes out on the football field, and today was no different. He stood in for Snacks, and he was better than Snacks as far as I'm concerned. This guy made a ton of big plays. B.J. Hill is the future defensive tackle of this football team. And Olivier Vernon, the stat sheet might not show it, but this guy was making big play after big play. He was getting after the quarterback. And the Giants' defense was not the reason they lost this football game. Sure, they gave up the big run to Peterson at the end, but that's because they were wore down like they are every week. As I said earlier, they gave up the big run to Kamara a couple weeks ago at the end. They gave up a big run to Coleman last week. That's what happens because the offense doesn't support this defense. And stale Pat was stale again. The offense was extremely predictable. They hit on a couple of big plays, but overall, the defense knew what was coming, and they stuffed the Giants the entire game. Stale Pat better wake up. And maybe it's not all his fault. Maybe they need a more mobile quarterback. Maybe they need a better offensive line. We're going to find out next year. I'm going to give him another year before I fully evaluate Pat. But the last couple of games, stale Pat has been beyond stale. So, Giant fans, next week we have the bye. So, at least we don't have to suffer another brutal loss. We get a week off before we have to watch the Giants go up against the 49ers in a game in which I actually think they may win. I'm sick of it. I know a lot of Giant fans want them to go out there and tank and lose as many games as possible so they can get the Herberts of the world or whoever else they want to take with the #1 overall pick. But I'm not one of those fans. I want this team to win as many games as possible. And I'm not disrespecting those fans. I understand the philosophy. I understand why you think that we should get as many losses as possible to get that #1 overall pick. but I can't do it. I want the Giants to finish on a high note, and I hope and pray that they can come out with a win in 2 weeks. Before I go, I want to thank each and everyone that tuned in for the live stream. My subscribers are great. I always say you guys are the best subscribers on YouTube. And you guys were my co-hosts today. You guys made it go. It was fun. It was a blast. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Thank you guys again. If you liked what you watched, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Let's talk about where the Giants go from here. It's not looking pretty, Giants fans. Where do we go from here? What is the future? As always, cheers.